Do we have audio? Okay, we're back, and we have a question.
Yes. From Karen, how long do you recommend keeping someone down? How long is too long?
Okay, so Karen asks, how long do you keep someone upside down? You really just have to stay in communication with them. So if it's the first time you're inverting someone, then try to keep them there for 3 breaths or 5 breaths, and then have them come right back out of it. I know Rosie, she was here at our first model, and I had her there forever, and so I knew she'd be okay. Jenna, I had her do 3 breaths. She came right back out of it. And she's back down, and you're doing okay? Okay, she's doing okay. So just some very simple introductory exercises here. We're going to do the head lift with 1 or 2 arms, and head lift with superwoman arms. So very simply. You can do this with your partners if you're here in the room. If you want to just watch, you're tired, that's okay too. I know a lot of people have traveled today. So I'm going to center Jenna's legs here a touch, and we're going to elongate through the hips. Beautiful. And hips to head. Now we'll do the breath. So we're going to inhale naturally. And then we're going to exhale all the air. And then as you're exhaling, Jenna, lift your head off your hands. Bringing your chin, just bringing her chin closer to her neck so that she's not lifting this way, she's not kinking that pose. And then she's going right back down. And she's doing a gorgeous job. So again, inhale for me just naturally. And then once she starts the exhale, then the head can lift. So not before. The exhale is going to contract the muscles of the torso, and it's going to help to stabilize the spine so that when she lifts the head, we don't have the spine doing a kind of willy-nilly thing, and that it's being stabilized. And so now she has her right hand on top of her left here. And so the next time you exhale, I'm going to have you lift the entire right arm, keep the right hand glued to your forehead, and then you'll lift up. Beautiful, not too high. And right back down. Inhale for me. And she's going to exhale and come up. Good. So she's focused more on elongation here, and I'm focused more on elongation as the instructor than I am on spine extension. Jenna is a dancer, was a dancer, she took a lot of dance lessons. I know she's capable of bending that spine backwards, but that's not the point of what we're trying to do. We're trying to use the K2 to prevent a hyperlordosis, to stay in this nice long position, so that instead of dumping into spine extension, we can actually lengthen. So she can start here and come to neutral, and if we wanted to, I could go a little higher with her and go into some extension, which we're not doing tonight, but she would still be supported and long and not dumping. We do it this way, not dumping. Okay, and now next, Jenna's going to lift both arms. So you're going to inhale for me, and you're going to exhale, and you're going to lift both arms up. Excellent, and then you're going to come right back down. And once more like that. And this time when you lift, Jenna, you're going to stay lifted. So she's staying lifted, and now she's going to reach her arms out to the sides, and you're going to run a little bit into these guys. So you're going to go to the outside, and then you're going to come right back in. And then you're going to go out, and you're going to come right back in. So this exercise, are you okay here, Jenna? Okay, so this exercise, still focused on elongation here. You want to build strength, right? So that's going up and down. Then you want to build stamina. So you're going to keep her here, and you're going to have the arms go out and in 10 times for stamina. One is strength, the other is stamina. Okay, you're doing it for a longer period of time. And rest. So that was great. All right, let me go back to your slides. And I think that we're just going to be doing the lower body next. So very simple. Yeah, okay. All right, so let's do this for you, sweetie. Let's do straighten your left leg, so stretch. And she's turning, she's going to rotate the foot out. She's in external rotation. This doesn't help you at all. There. She's in external rotation. And from here, we're going to lift the leg. Now, I like external rotation here. You can use internal rotation. But again, because people with back pain have a tendency for these glute muscles to drop out, if I go into external rotation, then the glute muscle itself tends to contract. It's what it does. It does external rotation. It likes external rotation. And so if I put it there, then it's more likely to contract. And if I have someone in front of me that has a hard time getting it to contract, I'm just going to try and make it easier on them. And then from here, Jenna, if you could lift this leg or elongate it, and now keep it lifted, and now reach up the head and the right arm. That's enough, yep. And right back down with the leg also. And then we're going to lift both of those up again. D, 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 and then right back down. And then again, both up and both down. Now I'm not going to ask Jenna to do it because I don't know her very well. Go ahead and man this leg. But you could also do two legs up and down at the same time. And we'll practice something similar to that in just a bit. Let's see where we are. Okay. One thing that's not in your handout here, but what I'd really like to do, go ahead, we're going to use the right leg. Go ahead and stand on these toes. So these toes are coming down. We are externally rotated. Oh, thank you. We're externally rotated. We're standing on the toes. She's going to press through the heel. And as she pushes through that heel, she's elongating her own spine. It's kind of like she's taken her own tail. If she were the rat in the cookie study, it's like she's taken her own tail and she's reached it away. Now she could rest her forehead on a little pillow here. So go ahead and come off your hands and rest your forehead down. And she could grab these bars and she could pull herself in the other direction. So now she's definitely repeating the rat in the cookie study.
You have a question?
Okay.
Did she say during the leg lift, keep the leg externally rotated if the client is able?
Yeah, if the client's able and your goal is glute contraction, then external rotation. If your goal is hamstring contraction as primary, then you're probably going to go more to a neutral alignment. Because obviously we can't isolate 100%. But if I stay externally rotated, the leg, the glute will fire. Well, you hope it fires. And if you're in more internal rotation, you're going to get more hamstring and spine. You're going to get spine, glute, and hamstring regardless. You're just trying to pull a little more out of the glute there, if you can. And if that didn't help, make sure you write back and get that clarification. Okay. You okay, Jenna? Yep. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you a break for this next one. And Rosie, where are you? Do you feel like coming back? Okay. Is she okay? Yeah. Awesome. All right, so Rosie's going to come up, and I want to show you how I like to work with kyphosis. I know. Picking on Rosie. You're so not kyphotic. She's not kyphotic. So go ahead and jump up here, and I was putting this back here, but you actually don't need that, do you? Yep. Was it more comfortable with it? Actually. You liked it? Okay. All right, so we're going to give you that back. All right, so with kyphosis. So those of you who are here for the scoliosis workshop tomorrow, yay. You're going to find that when we're working with scoliosis, that the two sides of the spine are never doing the same thing. Or so let's say we're in the thoracic region on this side is doing one thing, and it's doing exactly the opposite on the other side. And so we have to first arrange those, and we have to start the pelvis. We go pelvis, we go lumbar, we go thoracic, we go cervical, we go shoulder girdle. Well, kyphosis, we need to do the same thing. We can't just have someone come in who's kyphotic and say, oh, you know what we need to do? We just need to roll those shoulders back. Or we just need to lift the chest. Or we just need to elongate. Well, that actually would be a good one. If you just elongated, you'd be halfway there at least. So the reason I bring up scoliosis is because it's pretty obvious when you have something like this going on that, yeah, of course you need to address the lumbar. Of course you need to address the thoracic. It's not as obvious sometimes with kyphosis. So with kyphosis, we're going to neutralize the pelvis, but she's also a little rotated. So we're gonna give you a little booster. She gets a little booster seat underneath her right hip there. Okay, so we've neutralized and we've moved the lumbar region closer to neutral. Because if someone's kyphotic, as much as it might look like their whole spine is in flexion, if they're going to stand up, and then their low back is going to be in hyperlordonic position. And so by putting her on the K2, it neutralizes that position. By the way, if you put your kyphotic person in a seated position, it does pretty much the same thing. It's going to get rid of that hyperlordosis. Okay. All right. So we've got that. So we're good. So next we need to address the thoracic region. Okay. So for the thoracic region, what we want to do is we want that thorax. We want it to go forward. And we want it to elongate. So we are going to squeeze the heels together. Lumbar is taken care of. Inhale for me. We're going to exhale. We're going to drop, drop, drop. So she's dropping. I'm just shaking and cueing. I'm not pushing. Inhale when you're ready. Exhale, drop, drop, drop. And now she's going to glide. Oh, that was amazing. And now she did her own glide up into the cervical region. So she's dropped here. All right, so now we have lumbar and we have thoracic taken care of. Now we need to work on cervical. So from here, once she has this position, we're going to bring the head up off the hands and chin stays close to the neck. So it lifts, can you see me? It lifts like that. Okay, so go ahead, and I know you can't see me. And so dropping and elongating, and now lift your head and pull the chin in hard. Chin, no, other way. Chin. That's it. And now push your head into my hand. Push, 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 push. Good. So right there is when I felt all the muscles of the spine contract. Okay? And that's important. So we don't just position and make things look pretty. She's got to do something there to maintain that position. So again, one more time. We've already set the lumbar because she's in this position. The next one is to drop the thoracic. So a little cueing here, and she's going to elongate the thoracic. So here we go. Deep, da-da-da. She's going to lift the head and push into my hand, chin in. Keep pushing until I feel these muscles contract. She's got it. Okay. And you're standing on your elbows a little bit, but there, push. Good.
So, sorry, when you say these muscles contract, are you talking about trapezius, erectors?
Yeah, whatever's right there. So again, we're not talking about isolating just like one group. So when I feel her contract here, I'm feeling what's most likely the paraspinal is going all the way down.
So you're mostly going for the spinal muscles, like the small erectors, multiplies.
So the question is am I going mostly for the paraspinals, the erector spinae? Yeah, I guess that would be my first concern, but all of them are going to contract. But you're right, the erector spinae, those are the ones that are going to obviously go from the occiput all the way to the sacrum.
But so trapezius, so there's
through the lumbar, through the fascia, right. So when we get the top, when we get that movement of the head engaged, then everything down the spine engages. So yeah, all of those muscles. All of those muscles. Oh, question? Oh, why don't you come on up there, Rosie? John's concerned.
Thank you.
Good job, Steve. All right, let's see where we're at here. Any other questions so far? Okay, and this is what we just did. Review on the slide. So the review is that the lumbar is already stabilized by the K2. You're going to cue the thoracic region anteriorly and cranially. You're going to cue the cervical cranial and posteriorly. And then you're going to add strength to the cervical position by pulling that chin and making the muscles contract. Okay. I'm going to talk about this, but we're not going to do it tonight. It's a little too complex, and we'll be spending the whole day doing this tomorrow. Managing scoliosis. When you're just, actually, why don't we, Jenna, do you mind coming out? Jenna has scoliosis, so we'll work on her spine. Because actually the points that I have here are not about applying any kind of corrections per se. So let's just do this. Okay, so she's going to lie back down just the way she was. And we're going to externally rotate the legs and the heels are going to touch. Her head's resting on her hands, and I'm going to see if one hip wants to live more forward than the other. So it appears that the left hip has to come back. So go ahead and pop this here and come right back down. So now the pelvis is level. So I just took one of these little green rectangles and I popped it underneath her hip just to level the pelvis out. So we're working from a neutral position. Now, those of you who know me know that these wedges back here are not decorative, and that I just can't wait to get into her spine tomorrow and start to apply some wedges. But it's really not important to start with. We can do exactly what we were doing before. So we want to make sure she's centered. We want to make sure the pelvis is level. We want to make sure she's elongated. So without any wedges at all, we can make sure that she is elongating out of those curves without a single wedge for correction. Okay, pretty much exactly what she was doing earlier. And stay right there for just a moment. You okay, Jenna? Mm-hmm. Let me see here. So elongation. Okay, so the bullet point here that says small movements do not disturb improved alignment achieved with elongation. So this is important. So when you achieve lengthening of the curves with elongation, make sure then you don't go back in and, so Jenna, go ahead and lift your head for me. And you can leave your arm down. And then just keep pushing into spine extension. So as she goes up, now she's disturbed the elongation and the more improved alignment we had when she was just elongated. So if I'm going to have her lift her head here, we're going to elongate. I'm going to watch and pay special attention to what's happening here, and that's high enough. In fact, you could probably stay even lower. So I'm going to cue Jenna to lift her head only enough that we could float or slide a piece of paper underneath her head, between her head and her hands. Good, and right back down. So that contracts the muscles without changing that elongated pattern. And lift again. That was it. That was it. And then there was no dumping into the curves there. Okay, awesome. Come on off of there.